Welcome everyone. I'm Katrina from the APDT, and welcome to another instalment of Train Your Dog Month. Tonight I'm going to be joined by Erica Peachey, and she's going to be talking to us about training games. Hi Erica.
Hello there, Katrina.
Um, if anybody's watching, which I hope they are, can you just let us know in the comments that you can see us and that you can hear us okay? Just put a little thumbs up react or a little heart or something so we know that there's people there. There's Zoe with her lovely
Hi.
soft coat and Wheaton Terrier saying good evening. Hi Zoe. So Erica, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you for having me today. Thank you, everybody else that hopefully is joining. Um, Very briefly, I started at a dog training class with my new dog when I was very little. I became a dog training instructor more than 40 years ago. I was very, very young then. Realized quite quickly that the reason people were coming to classes was not because they wanted to walk around in endless circles shouting heel, but didn't know what to do about it. So, did my degree, worked with various people, set up my behaviour business 33 years ago now, and still love it. Absolutely fabulous work. I'm so lucky. Um, there's always more to learn, and it's always fascinating. So I suppose that's a very brief introduction there.
Yeah, and actually thinking about it, Erica, and I don't know why I didn't say it to you before, I'd love to have you on like later on in the year to talk to us a little bit about how much dog training has changed. Because I know even from when I mean, my first dog was where my sister went up the road to buy a can of Coke. The first 6 months she came back with a cat, and then 6 months later she came back with a dog, because you could just
Right.
buy them in pet shops then in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And I bet you've seen a real change in the dog industry
Oh,
in general. Um,
massive. Yeah. And improvements and then scary developments coming along nowadays, which we didn't have that, all that time ago. So yeah, fortunately, far more understanding now, much more empathy, much more knowledge. It's marvelous. But yeah, I'd love to come back. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, because there's just been such a change. Um,
Mm,
all right, so if anybody's got any questions for Erica, just pop them in the chat as we go along, and I'll bring them up onto the broadcast at the end. Are you ready to get going?
certainly am.
Great. Okay, I'm going to cue up your first slide then.
Thank you very much.
Go.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, the reason that I chose this topic was because we all get dogs. We're full of enthusiasm. We take on this wonderful puppy, and we think that somehow it's going to improve or enhance our life if we share it with a dog. Hopefully, as well, we have some thought of the dog and that we can enhance their life and make it the best that it can be. And very often it happens and it's wonderful, and that's why we're all here as dog owners. But there's always a downside, and especially since lockdown, there definitely are far many more dogs around the place. Um, and that means that there's far more potential for problems, and lots more difficulties and issues are arising from that. Maybe we should call them challenges, not issues, but we'll see. Um, so, some people tell me when they speak to me about the dog, some people say, oh, 90% is great, but 10% we're really struggling with. Other people aren't so lucky and find that their dogs are presenting them with huge issues or challenges. I had an email recently from someone who said to me, it's been a weary 2 years, which is awful, isn't it? We want these dogs to make us happy and for us to make them happy. So I come across an increasing number of people nowadays who dread taking the dog out for a walk, or who don't take the dog out for a walk. And then there are people who find it very difficult to be in with the dog because of the attention seeking, stealing, guarding, lots and lots of dogs barking at every noise that they hear, dogs that can't be left. even dogs where owners are worried letting them into the garden because their gardens are surrounded by other dogs in other gardens. And so the problems seem to be endless. So I thought what I wanted to talk about today is how we can increase the fun. Hence the first slide. What I'm aiming for is that in some way we can decrease the stresses that are going on in our lives. And as we do that, the hope is that our dogs become more responsive, them and us have more satisfaction with what's going on, which leads to more contentment and more confidence. Dogs become more confident, owners become more confident with them. So it might be that, oh, I hope some of these things that my suggestions today, I'm hoping some of them might help with issues or avoiding issues, and for others where there's perhaps more severe things going on, it might be the first step or one step in the progress of overcoming these issues. So, what I've realised is that coming later in the month is not quite as good as I'd hoped. I was very smug at first, thinking I'd got the whole month to prepare. But what I've realised from listening into some of the other wonderful talks is that lots and lots of brilliant people have said similar things before me this month. So I do hope that I'm not going to be going over the same things, but hopefully it doesn't matter. It's all fine. I've realised that different trainers could comment over the same video and probably say different things about what the dog's learning and what benefits it brings. And it's fine. It's all true. It's all going to be to the good. So that's what we're hoping for. Lots of the things that I'm talking about tonight is including treats. I tend to use treats in a lot of instances in preference to toys or other rewards. All dogs need to eat. Ideally, we can use other forms of rewards as well. We can use toys, lots of praise, lots of nice things going on. But I tend to start with treats, and they have lots of benefits. One being that if the dog who normally likes a treat suddenly starts to refuse it, he's possibly telling us that it's all a bit too much for him, and we're beginning to be able to learn from him. So, what kind of treats would we use? Something that the dog loves and that he's willing to put a bit of work in to get. He's got to be able to have lots and lots of them. Ideally, smelly, crunchy, and visible treats, but you probably need a variety. In my experience, the ones that are crunchy, it's good if they crunch because you hear when they've eaten them. The ones that are crunchy tend to be mud coloured, which is less use, isn't it, at this time of year when there is a lot of mud around? So experiment with different treats, finding out what your dog likes and what he enjoys. Um, and hopefully then our dogs begin to associate the treat with lots of good things. So approval, the owner being happy that they're in a nice place, that they've got no worries. So then when we play these games in other situations, the dog's confidence and enjoyment becomes stronger. So when I talk to my clients, I quite often talk about them finding their dog's happy face. And it's not quite this right term, but I haven't come up with a better one yet. So it's when the dog's looking expectant, when he's interested, when he's interacting. If we could have the next slide, please, Patrina.
Oh, here we go.
And there we go. So you know what that expression is in your own dog because it will vary with all of them. But when they're expecting good things and they're wanting to be involved with us, and when we can recognise that state of mind as it presents itself in our dog, we know how we can help them to be a bit more interested and enjoy the games that we're hopefully going to play with them. So the games that I thought I wanted to talk about tonight, and what you realise is I haven't got catchy names for them. I could probably have made a fortune by now if I just could think up these catchy little names that you can put on, but I don't tend to do that. The names are very boring and descriptive. So the first game, the treat game, told you they were good names, didn't I? Is teaching our dogs just to engage with us and to interact and to be happy. So if we could have the first video, please, Patrina.
Are you ready? Good girl. Good girl.
Treat. Your dog goes and gets it. They come back to you to throw another one in a different direction. Your dog cannot get it wrong. They can't do the wrong thing. Hopefully your hand's always low enough that they're not jumping up at you. And other than that, everything that they do is the right thing. You can do it that you call your dog to you, and then they're associating the name with coming in an enthusiastic way. You don't have to call them. I tend to like if you can touch your dog in between. So as you can see there, she's touching my hand and I'm touching her body. It was particularly important with her because she used to be very hand shy. She was a rescue. But it stops the dog just standing off and waiting for you to throw the next treat, because dogs are very clever. They anticipate, they try to get it right for us. So that's the first game. You teach it where you've got very few distractions, and then you can progress to being outside. So if we could have the next video, please, Patrina. Oh, there we go. So you might have a dog who gets out of the car and he's kind of all guns blazing. I'm not quite sure what's happening to that video. Did it play properly?
Yeah, that was the whole of
no,
it. I can play it again.
Yeah, please, if you could. So yeah, when you get out of the car, if your dog's a little bit overly excited or distracted by the environment, you can play a little bit there. As soon as you get out. And then you can progress to, if we could have the next video, please. Either with a long line, if that's what you're using with your dog, or if they're going off the lead, they're starting then to get more distance. Hopefully they find it interesting. And again, lots going on in the world, but you are the source of interesting things. And then if we could have the next video, please. There we've got off the lead. Dougal finds it very hard not to have to sniff everywhere. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And as well as playing it in the house and on walks for fun and for getting them to want to be involved with us, could we have the next video, please? You can start to use it in situations either where your dog becomes stressed or overexcited or highly aroused. And again, you're doing something that they know, that they enjoy, and that you are the most interesting thing that's going on around them. So that's the first one. Second one, which I find very, very useful to teach dogs, is to teach them to get a reward for putting 2 paws onto something. And again, you can vary it. You can teach whatever you really want, as long as they're having a nice time and enjoying themselves. So if we could have the next video, please.
Paws on. Good girl.
Using treats, rewarding the behaviors that you want. You teach in an easy situation where there's less distractions. And then on to the next video, please, Patrina. Oh, there we go. That was a very brief video. So you try it in all different situations, different settings. And the next one, please. Oh, I sound like I'm on countdown. So once they're getting the hang of that, you can progress to 4 paws on, depending on the size of your dog and the agility of your dog and what's good for them and what's not, because you'd obviously not do anything that's not advisable for your specific dog. So next video, please. So 2 paws on. You can do 4 paws on. I don't know how the videos are playing with you, but with me, they seem to be overlapping a little bit more than I'd thought. So yeah, 4 paws on, 2 paws on. Again, rules aren't set in stone. If you've asked your dog to put his 2 paws on and he offers you jumping on with all 4 paws because he's enjoying himself and he's trying to do the right thing for you, then yeah, all's good. So yeah, 2 paws, 4 paws. The progression from 4 paws being on is that you can teach them to walk along obstacles or items, and again, do what's safe with your dog. But have we got the next video, please? Ever's in the environment. Yeah, I do hope these videos are playing better for you than they are for me, because they're not looking quite right with me. But yeah, jumping onto things, walking along things, rewarding your dog. Your dog's learning to listen to you, to want to do things with you, and hopefully it makes the walk more interesting for everybody. The fourth thing then to speak about is teaching your dog to go round something, which does involve more effort beforehand. So the initial game, the treat game, anybody can start to play it and hopefully getting results. Teaching them to put their paws on is teaching them to interact with you that little bit more. Getting them then to go round things means on a walk, you've got a way of getting them to focus with you and to concentrate a little bit more. So could we have the next video, please, Patrina?
Round. Good girl.
So again, starting somewhere easy. And then if we could go on to the next one, please. Ready? Yeah. So it is much harder if your dog's on a lead or a long line, but it is still possible. And if you're using a long line to develop your control, and in Frank's case, to persuade him that he doesn't have to chase after every squirrel he sees, then they're still having fun. They're still making choices. They're still doing things on their walk. And then on to the next video, please. Go round. So I really hope that played properly for everyone, because it didn't do here. Again, something like go round, you can teach them to go in different directions. You can put it on cue, but it really doesn't matter. You can just reward it. I find it such fun with them that my dogs will look at something and they'll look at me and they go, okay, what if I do this? Do I get a treat? What if I do this? And so they're offering things, they're interacting, they're choosing to be with me and to have fun here on the walk rather than clear off chasing after squirrels or doing any of the other things that we may not really want our dogs to be doing on a walk. So the more we can do, the better it is. And as I say, I don't think it's important which way round they go or whether you've asked or whether they've volunteered it. As long as they're enjoying it and you're enjoying it, that's the main thing. The fifth one is when you're out and about walking with your dog, just every few steps or whenever you want, you put a treat on the floor for your dog to come to. So if we could have the next video, please. So as you're walking along, treats on the floor, so your dog starts to think, oh, this is where I want to be. I want to be with my owner. I want to be checking in on them. I want to know what's happening with them, rather than I'd rather be across the park or doing something different or doing any of the things that we don't want them to be doing. So with all of those little games, you can combine them. You can walk away from your dog, put a treat on the floor when they catch up with you, and then change direction, go somewhere else. You can get them to go round an obstacle and then move away from them, so they've got to come and catch up. You can throw treats on the floor as you're walking along. There is no limit. You find out what your dog likes and you keep trying that. So all of those games are using treats, because as we said, that has lots of benefits. And then just the last little thing that I wanted to mention, with a toy. Lots of dogs like toys. Lots of owners are perhaps less keen to take toys because they might lose them. The dog picks them up and drops them somewhere, and then you've lost your toy, which does make it more expensive, doesn't it, when that happens on a regular basis? A long, long time ago, many years ago, I was walking my dog along the seafront and it was quite windy, and the only toy I had was a frisbee. And I thought, well, if I throw that, it's either going to blow off and go down on the beach where I didn't want him to be that day, or, we were quite near to a road. So I found out that if you attach your lead to the toy, you can get them to play with it and you can keep hold of the toy. And nowadays people talk about flirt poles, which are great, absolutely wonderful. You can teach your dog all sorts with them. But personally, I would feel quite conspicuous taking my dog onto the local park with a horse's lunge whip with me or something like that. Whereas this is a game you can play and enjoy. So if we could have the next video, please, Patrina. So the toy's attached to the lead. You can hold on to the lead and the dog can play with the toy. And again, you wouldn't play it for hours on end, just for short bursts. So that's the last of the videos. So Patrina, if you can pop it back, the screen back onto me. Oh, there we go. I think that's working. Okay. Do you know, I do so many Zoom calls. I'm so proud of myself being slightly technical that I can do Zoom calls all day, every day. But you always have a person to look at and see how it's going. So it's quite bizarre just seeing nobody there. But yes, I was saying with the toy, any toy that's got a loop in it or a frisbee or whatever, if you've got your own lead there, or an old lead if you don't want that, you'd thread it through and then through the handle, because you don't want the clip to be going in your dog's mouth. So you'd hold the clip, that would come through there, and then your dog can play with the toy. So hopefully that's some suggestion. put bits of mud all over my table now because everything to do with dogs has mud everywhere at this time of year, doesn't it? Never mind. Yeah, hopefully that's given some suggestions and some ideas which can make walks more interesting, can make it more fun. So I think in conclusion, does it make your dog happy? If it does, it's probably good. Does it make you happy? That's good. Is your dog learning something useful or beneficial or at least something not bad? So we don't want them jumping at you, knocking you over, barking with frustration, hurtling around them, play themselves and damaging things. So are they learning something useful? And the fourth point is, are you learning something useful? Are you understanding your dog? Are you listening to what they're telling you? Are you having fun with them? So if the answer to those four is yes, it's probably a very good thing, and that's what we should do. So just very quickly before I finish, I just wanted to say thank you very, very much to everyone who's helped. As you saw, my models for the videos, Dougal, Jerry, Luna, Guinness, my own two dogs, Frank and Filey, and then not with the videos, but a massive thanks to Patrina, who has been very, very patient. Not only has organised all of this, but managed to organise how I could overcome some of my phobias of technology to reach this point. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. As we said on the education course, I think it was, or being assessed to be a member, we're meant to be people trainers, aren't we? So if I can teach someone a little bit about IT and help them through that, yeah. Otherwise, I think I would have felt a bit failure because I thought, well, no, it's on me. You're my learner, aren't you? And if I can't teach you how to use these things, it's my fault. It's not your fault. So yeah. Oh, wonderful presentation. Thank you for that. The videos played for me fine. I'm hoping that for everybody else they played fine. Nobody said they couldn't see anything. So we've just got a little comment from Rachel, who's got her assessment this year. Great videos, thanks. Hello. I love these games and play most of my dog and teach them in classes. So simple but perfect for owners and their dogs. Yeah, do you think there's a tendency to sort of, you said about names for things, overcomplicate a little bit these days?
I tend to like things being straightforward. I don't like too much to have to think about. So if a name describes what you're doing, then that's good enough for me. But I don't know, there's place for everything, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd imagine over your career, you've seen lots of things come and then they get called something else 5 years later and you think, oh, we already did that back.
Yeah.
A little bit of that, maybe.
Yeah, but sometimes they come back and they're better, which is wonderful.
True.
Sometimes they come back not better, in my opinion, but, we're always learning, so that's always a good thing.
And Paul says, lovely input. I see so many new owners stressing with obedience exercises, and it's obvious they just need to build relationships with their dogs playing fun games like you suggest. Also, some nice ideas. I'll pinch. That's it.
Good. They're freely given.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any other questions for Erica? Any other comments? Yeah, I thought they were really nice little simple games. I know what you mean about the flirt pole, where you think, do I want to go out with that stick in my hand?
I so wouldn't feel comfortable with that. Just a toy on a lead, which we've generally got a lead there. I found it absolute lifesaver because it for the dogs that love it, it's such a motivator to come back to you. And then they know that it might be on offer at any point in the walk. It's not there all the time. So it aids the motivation.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, because if you do go out with something really obvious, I mean, I'm sure of course she can. My dog can smell if I've got a ball in my pocket,
Yeah.
because the ball is just her number one thing. And I never played fetch with her, so it's profoundly irritating how obsessed she is with balls and not so fast on tug. But yeah, if she knows the ball's there, it's just ball, 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 ball all the time. And I can imagine having that reward hidden and then just sort of being brought out like with the terrier, really wanting to chase and get that chase things going on is a great thing to do.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The dog. I say the dogs that love it absolutely love it, don't they? It's brilliant. So,
Oh,
um,
great.
so
And a nice little comment from Corinne, who's got at least one Cavalier in her profile picture. The game,
oh, beautiful.
the game, the games were lovely and less stuffy than some training session. Your Cavaliers are beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very, very biased. I think possibly rescues shouldn't give two gorgeous little cavaliers to a middle-aged woman whose kids are growing up rapidly. But oh my God, they're so gorgeous.
How old are they
They
now?
the dogs or the kids?
The dogs.
The dogs. They're 2 years old now,
Oh, right.
but they're
Okay. So,
so
yeah.
they're so little, much smaller than my other cavalier. So they get away with anything because people think that they're only about 6 months old. So they go, "Oh, are they only babies?" You go, "Yeah,
Oh, we all love a Cavi, don't we? All of us.
yes."
All right. So we haven't got any other questions for you. Is there anything else you want to add before I let people know what's on tomorrow?
Um, No, it's been really lovely. I do hope that people have enjoyed it and it's, given some kind of inspiration. Loads more ideas. So I'm very happy to come back anytime you'll talk me through it, Patrina.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's been a brilliant thing to be part of. I think it's such a lovely idea to do this, and it must have been just massive amounts of work for you. But thank you so much. I think it's a brilliant idea. I've really enjoyed watching lots of the other presentations.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much. That just leaves me to tell everyone that tomorrow we're being joined by, she's a fairly new APDT member, but she's been training dogs for quite a while, Martina Miradoli. She actually did a brilliant webinar for us 2 weeks ago on the Border Collie Brilliant Brain, because she's a Border Collie specialist. And she's going to be doing a live on dogs who recall for dogs who like to chase and herd. So if you've got a herdy dog, or you've just got a dog that's pretty chasey with anything that moves, perhaps like your Cavaliers, which don't strike me as the most predatory of breeds, I have to say.
Oh, I'll get Frank to watch it tomorrow. He'll be good at that.
Yeah, so join me at 6 tomorrow with Martina. And thanks for watching, everyone. And thank you for
everybody.
coming, Erica.
Thank you
Great.
very much.